Good morning. Welcome to Shalom Mennonite Church for this service of remembrance of Christine Ann Ward. My name is Ben Woodward Breckbill. I'm one of the pastors here. It is good to be with you for this morning. Please join me in a word of prayer, and following that, we will join all together in reading the Lord's Prayer as it is printed in the bulletin. God, in our grieving, let your peace rest on the family and friends as we share in this farewell for Chrissy. For the fullness of life together, for shared sorrows and joys, for the blessing of treasured memories, we give you thanks. For words unwise or left unsaid, for things done or left undone, grant your forgiveness and help us to forgive. During this time of mourning and of gratitude, comfort our hearts and strengthen our faith as we await the day of our reunion in the power of the risen Christ. Amen. Let's read together the Lord's Prayer in the bulletin. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Now hear the eulogy.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Chrissy Ann Ward, August 27, 1951 to October 7, 2021. Christine is the oldest of 5 children born to Clifford and Iva Mae Hummel on August 27, 1951 in St. Louis, Missouri. While she was an infant, the family moved back to their hometown of Newton, Iowa, where she spent her formative years. As a teenager, Chrissy had a job working at her dad's restaurant, Cliff's, in Newton. In 1967, the family moved to Fort Worth, Texas, where she attended Arlington Heights High School. In 1974, Chrissy enrolled as a student at a school of cosmetology, and after completing the program and earning her certificate, she worked as a stylist at several salons in Fort Worth. In the mid-1980s, Christine earned her GED and then pursued further education at Tarrant County College in Fort Worth, Texas. As a member of the National Honor Society, she completed her associate's degree with highest honors in 1991. She then applied and was accepted to the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. Chrissy moved there and began work as an undergraduate. While attending, she was inducted into the National Honor Society in Psychology, Psi Chi fraternity in 1995. Chrissy graduated from UCCS, magna cum laude, with a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology in 1998. While living in Colorado, Christine met Dennis Ward. The two of them were married on January the 1st, 1994. She and Dennis built a life together and blended their families. They were married for 27 years, and in that time they lived in Colorado, Kansas, Kentucky, and Louisiana. In 2017, they moved again to Kansas from Louisiana for their retirement. They have spent the last few years together in Newton, Kansas. My mother lived a full life. Her activities included, but were not limited to, developing and directing various counseling and community outreach programs for the First Assembly of God in Hutchinson, Kansas, the Good News Center Free Methodist Church in Morgantown, Kentucky, and Oak Grove Free Methodist Church in Sandy Lake, Louisiana. Caring for others was her nature, her vocation, and it was God's will for her to help and love her family, friends, and broader community. Chrissy had many passions in leisure, such as traveling, camping, gardening, singing, and baking. Christine will be missed by all who knew her. She is survived by her husband, Dennis Ward, her son, Matthew George. To the marriage, Dennis brought his daughters, Jade, Jasmine, and Jenna. Her siblings are Kathy Hummel Dunham, Kimberly Hummel, Kevin Hummel, and Carrie Hummel Burks. She is also survived by her nieces and nephew, her great-nieces, her grandchildren, and great-grandchild. Thank you very much.
Get the thing off my face here before I lose my glasses and everything. We're here today to celebrate a life well lived. Christine meant a lot to a lot of different people. As we have already heard, I met her while she was in college in Colorado Springs. She was just an amazing woman from day one. And she just grew more and more in that as we lived our lives. She's as close as anyone I know to being perfect. Although we're all human, so none of us are. I'd like to read Matthew 5:48. Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. And she is as close to that as anyone I know. But we aren't perfect. Getting back into the Greek and Hebrew of the word, this word perfect means whole, complete, and mature. And she was very much that way. This word does not imply an ethical perfection or flawless, because none of us are. It points to the mature relationship with God, loving Him fully, seeking to do His will, and living a lifestyle of love to others. And that's where Christine thrived, reaching out to and living a lifestyle of love to other people. And when she graduated college, she graduated with honors, with a bachelor's degree, top of her class. She very easily could have gone into a high-paying job and lived a lifestyle, that most of us will never see. But no, her heart was reaching out to other women, women's ministries. Like Matthew had already said, in Hutchinson, she was involved in women's ministries, reaching out to women who were struggling, in trouble, with either alcohol, drugs, or a bad relationship, and the list goes on. Holding meetings, changing their lives, helping them to live better lives, to get over their struggle, whatever that was, and to truly get into life. We went to Kentucky, where I was an associate pastor for the Free Methodist Church. And she got involved in women's ministry, which their conference had going on there already. They quickly discovered her abilities and her heart and put her in charge of it. And she just thrived, reaching out to other women in all levels, for all reasons. It's the same when I got a pastorate job in Louisiana. She became a big part of their women's ministries down there, having their meetings and functions throughout the year. Just thrived in that because her heart was for loving other women and helping them in whatever their struggle may be. Even if they weren't necessarily struggling, just help them to grow in the Lord and make a difference in their life. It was a life well lived, a life of the heart of God, reaching out to others to do better, to change their lives. Right up until this past year, she was doing the same thing. She was still on the phone talking to those women, talking to other people, reaching out to them, making a difference until she just couldn't anymore. Right up to the end. Her had a heart for loving other people. No matter where we were at, no matter what we did, she loved other people. Loved making a difference in people's lives, helping them to improve, to do better. And now she's received her just reward in heaven, seated at the feet of Jesus for all eternity, waiting for the rest of us in our time to be there. And I'm sure she'll be there to greet us into heaven, each and every one of us, because that was her heart. other people, all people, family and not family. It was her heart. It was making a difference for the glory of God in people's lives. So in that sense, she was perfect. Way too perfect for me. What I did to deserve her, I don't know. I still don't know. She's just a wonderful, loving person. She had to be satisfied. She had to be reaching out to other people, doing something for them, whatever it is. And the list is long. Between just cooking meals for people, buying gifts for them, just anything to make a difference in somebody's life. And I think we need to celebrate that. A life well lived. Because she did that for sure. And I'm sure her reward is great in heaven. What I'd like to do now is open it up to anyone who wants to stand up. You can just stand where you're at or come forward. If you've got something to say, what Christine has done for you, what she's meant to you in your life, just be welcome to stand up and do so right now. Please.
She likes helping. She did. And I know she loved me very much. So, yeah, she was a good woman. Never falls in love. Yeah, deep down, she was just big. Just one of a loving person. So, I'm Patty. I'm her sister. She's my big sister. And of course, everybody's dead. The thing that I remember most, she had a sense of humor. One time she came to my house, and in the backyard I had all these flamingos. And she looked at me and says, "What?" I said, "I love flamingos." And she just gone. She had to go running to go there. And the holidays were so important to her. And that woman could never, oh my heaven, you go to her house and everything was just gorgeous. And she did for every holiday, but especially for Christmas. She went through for Christmas. And when you go, we sometimes come up with the nice. And she'd be baking, she would have a tea for all of us. And that was amazing. But she won't. She is. You ask for help, you got it. Anyway, she was like this, I did this. That was it. She was just a good sister.
A wise man told me recently that if you drink water, you won't cry at the same time. He was a wonderful nurse at the hospital where Chrissy was in her last days. And so I brought my water with me just in case, so I could get through what I wanted to say about her and her life. Hopefully I can do this without either crying or choking up. My sister, Chrissy, was the oldest of all my siblings, and since I am 7 years younger, she used to tell me how she wagged me around as a little tot like I was a doll. We were always buddies, even when I was a little girl. I think she took that doll thing a little bit too seriously. But as we became adults, our relationship changed into something more solid. She was there for me, like Kathy just said, whenever I needed anything. When I got married and had my babies, she was always there to throw showers, as well as Kathy, and first birthday parties. We liked so much of the same things. Mentioning the holidays, yes, we both loved holidays and all things country living magazine style, as Matthew would tell. Stacks and stacks of them, right? On Thanksgiving Day each year, we'd break out the Amy Grant Christmas records. Get going, right, Matt? And start planning the cookie baking and decorating for Christmas. Once my family moved to Colorado, she and her family made many trips to visit us before she eventually did move there to finish her college education. Once she moved there, it was, winter, spring, summer, fall for us with all kinds of activities. In summer, there was always camping in the mountains. In fall, making jams and trying pumpkin recipes of different sorts. We'd try to scan magazines and figure out who could come up with the best one. In the winter and Christmas time, that we'd go sledding, always singing songs and just general merriment and having a great time. We even had competitions on whose Christmas tree or decked out holiday table was the best. Very competitive in that way. Together we just were always able to have a good time. Drank lots of hot tea over conversations. Hot tea was our thing, We would try all different kinds and flavors and, always had a little morsel of something to go along with that. And of course, as we know, life isn't all fun, but Chrissy was a great caregiver. She nursed me when I was sick many times, including Vicks VapoRub on me when I was a little kid and would yell out, "I can't sniff." She did these things without any fanfare. That was her true abiding nature. Whoops, losing my mask, there we go. To minister to those that she knew and loved. I am fortunate to have been one of those and will miss her dearly.
My water's sealed shut, so I better not need it. I don't know that I have a lot of new things to add other than maybe just my own perspective. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I was obsessed with the PBS miniseries adaptation of Anne of Green Gables. And I can remember watching it one time and asking my mom why my middle name, Anne, wasn't spelled like Anne Shirley. Why didn't I have an E at the end of my Anne? She told me, which I already knew, that my Anne was the same as someone else's, my Aunt Chrissy. We shared an E-less middle name. I already knew that, but because part of my name was also part of hers, it reminded me of that special bond that we shared. It's funny how in death we're drawn to the bonds that we shared with someone in their life. And if I could describe my aunt to you and the things that I remember about her, here's the list that I'd include. Chrissy loves to sing in the kitchen. We would often bake together at the holidays, and as everyone has said, blast the Amy Grant Christmas album in the background. Chrissy is the oldest child in her family, and so am I. I can remember sleepovers at her house and sharing in that special bond that a niece and aunt have, made all the stronger by our oldest sibling connection. Chrissy was the only one in her immediate family who attended and graduated from college. And when it was my turn to graduate, I remember her telling me so many times how special it was that she and I shared this bond too. Chrissy is covered in freckles. I remember thinking how beautiful her freckles were when I was a little girl. And how I wished I had as many as she did. When I went to visit her at the hospital last week, I stroked her arm and her face as we said our goodbyes, and I noticed my freckled complexion against hers. In pondering Chrissy's life and death these past days, the metaphor of the wave has brought me a lot of comfort. When we look at the ocean, we see that each wave has a beginning and an end. A wave can be compared with other waves, and we can call it more or less beautiful, higher or lower, longer lasting or less long lasting, but if we look more deeply, we see that a wave is made of water. Water becomes a wave, the wave travels to meet the beach, and then the wave recedes and it returns to the water. Chrissy also loved the ocean. She loved the water and she loved the waves. When my family recently visited Galveston, we brought her a small collection of shells that my girls gathered on the beach there. It brought us great joy to participate in this act of care for her because she was always so generous and so thoughtful in her care of others. She will be missed. She is gone from this place, but she is not forgotten.
You all know me. I'm Kevin. What y'all don't really realize what gave Chrissy drive, and it's not been mentioned. She was an athlete, unbeknownst to any of you. She won an Iowa State softball championship. She learned teamwork. It takes a team to accomplish anything. She wasn't no little leaf floating out in the breeze. She knew what it meant. She knew what family meant. I gave her some grandiose ideas. Chrissy, hey, we're more than what the some are. Look at our ancestors. Dennis's children bought her a gift to Ancestry.com. She began to search. Who are we? She realized that these are just ancient ancestors, but she discovered something else. We have other siblings from our father. Is this bad? Well, you can think so. It's not. If we don't live his life. She understood it. I understood it. I love it. We, as a family of Hummels, and all the little different fragments of this stone that we are, we're all connected. Anybody knows anything about physics, they understand how people come together. They understand how the repelling and the drawing of works. It's going to happen. But at the end, Chrissy was my inspiration. She won that national championship when I was a kid. She was the butt left king. And for you that don't know what that is, she could do it. She had legs that are as muscular as a man. And she could launch us kids off her feet into the ceiling. And we loved it because she's our big sister. She hurt my brother bad. Bless his heart. She hurt for years because of that. I knew right then that she had the heart of compassion. What happened is he broke his arm. He bounced off the ceiling and boom. See, these things we have to remember about our sister. She was all about family. And when she hurt, everybody hurt because we loved her. I reconnected with her because of my own fault. I got estranged to most family members because that's just the way I was. Otherwise, if I had had these grandiose ideas about our ancestors, she wouldn't have gotten this gift. I don't know how it worked out. God does strange things. He really does. And he wants us to know who we are. And he wants to know where we come from. And I think it's just the most marvelous thing that could ever happen to a family for an older sister to actually go out and find out who we are. Yeah, it's amazing. And I know she's in heaven. We talk all the time. Unbeknownst to any of you. All the time. Dennis called her all the time. She called me. Oh, look what I've discovered on Ancestry.com. Look what I've discovered. We got this in our family. Look what I've discovered. We got this in our family. I'm not telling you. You need to look. I'm pretty sure Chrissy's still got the archive. We found a sister. She's here. Thank you for coming. Yeah, she might have something to say. I don't know. I'm a long-winded person because, I was trained in the ministry too. World Faith Ministers Association, Oral Roberts University. Yeah. I did not graduate with honors. I was ornery. Anyway, I wanted to say thank you all. But we remember where we come from. Everybody here. This man here, Jeffrey, God bless him. I really do. And that's all I have to say unless we want to say something later on. Some really ordinary stuff. Thank you.
One of the last things we did on Monday, I think it was put out a quick call on Facebook because, again, Chrissy, so much of her communication was through that and her connections were through that. And 3 people sent back some messages for us to share here. And they may be watching where we've got this live streamed, and so to those people, we welcome you as well. This message is from Cindy Robinson. How well I remember on an early June day, 2012, when a couple came into the dining hall during our family church camp. I was serving in the food line and heard this booming voice saying, "We are here." This short lady was accompanied by a tall man, and both were smiling from ear to ear. Little did I know this couple would be appointed to the Oak Grove Free Methodist Church less than a mile from our house. Needless to say, Christine and Dennis Ward became very good friends. Christine and I spent many hours together the next 5 years, laughing together, crying together, shopping, and sharing our stories. Her door was always open. We shared many cups of tea and her delicious homemade goodies. Christine has a flair of creativity and a gift of hospitality. Christine was completely devoted to her husband. They made a great team. She didn't know a stranger. Christine was gifted in leadership and planned and organized many women's activities on the conference level as well as in the local church. Christine was devout in her faith. She coped with adversity by crying out to Jesus. There aren't enough words to describe the essence of Christine Ward. I missed her when she moved to Kansas, but took comfort in the fact that she lived in Newton, about 4 blocks from where I lived for several years. I will miss the texts, the cards, the phone calls. I know she is having the time of her life, and I will see her again. Love to you, Dennis. And this from Clara Wright from Oak Grove Free Methodist Church in Jonesville, Louisiana. We enjoyed some wonderful times with Brother Dennis and Christine. She was a bundle of joy to be around and with. Wonderful cook, too. Tell Brother Dennis we love him and are praying for you all. We will meet her on the other side. And finally, from Fran Torres Woolnow, to my sweet friend Christine. I am thinking of you today and of your strength and your vivacity of your love, and of your humor and your grit and of your warmth. Mostly I am thinking of your faith, of the prayers you gave and the hymns you sang, and the trust you put in him. I am thinking of the risks you took and the people you loved and the burdens you bore and the challenges you didn't avoid. I am thinking of the laughter we shared. I am thinking of the mark you left on my heart and the ways you blessed my spirit. I am thinking of the gift you were and the gift your memory will always be. Thanking you for being on this earth and for sharing this journey with us. You made it so much sweeter just by being you. Now we've created a slideshow for you. I hope you can look back and enjoy the memories. What jumps out to me is the smile, Chrissy's smile.
El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Elyon Adonai. Age to age you're still the same by the power of the name. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, Elhamkana Adonai. We will praise and lift you high, El Shaddai. Through your love and through the Ram, you saved the son of Abraham. Through the power of your hand, turn the sea into dry land. To the outcast on her knees, you were the God who really sees. And by your might, you set your children free. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Elyon Adonai. Age to age you're still the same by the power of the name. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, Elhamkana Adonai. We will praise and lift you high, El Shaddai. Time of Christ was near, though the people couldn't see what Messiah ought to be. Though your word contained the plan, they just could not understand. Your most awesome work was done through the frailty of your Son. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Elyon Adonai. Age to age you're still the same by the power of the name. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, Elhamkana Adonai. I will praise you
thank you again for sharing those memories, for being here to celebrate this life well lived. All are welcome to join in lunch in the fellowship hall across the way to continue to share stories and speak with one another in memory of Chrissy. I invite you to join me in one closing prayer. Eternal strength, hold us. Eternal hope, show us new life. Eternal compassion, comfort us in our grief. Eternal goodness, grant us your grace. As we live, work, and pray in this place, in this time, and with these people who reveal your love. Amen. And go in peace.